Hello and welcome back, everyone. Dr. Hana here, your trusted guide when it comes to unraveling the mysteries of men's intimate health. Today, we're diving into a question I get asked constantly. It's one that's often whispered in online communities, typed into search bars late at night, and discussed with that familiar mix of curiosity and concern. It's a subject surrounded by countless myths and misconceptions, enough to stir up real anxiety in many men. The question is this: what truly happens inside a man's body, more specifically to that small yet vital gland known as the prostate, if he engages in self-stimulation every single day? Now, the chatter you've probably come across online might make it sound like a risky habit. You'll find claims suggesting it causes wear and tear, leads to chronic inflammation, or even worse, something far more serious. Sadly, that kind of fear-driven messaging is all too common. But as your go-to men's sexual health expert, I'm not here to spread fear. My purpose is to bring you clear, evidence-based facts, real science, stripped away from judgment and myth. So, what does solid, credible research actually tell us? Well, that's exactly what I'm about to reveal today. And I promise the truth will genuinely surprise you. It's almost certainly not what you've been led to believe. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear could completely shift how you think about your long-term health. And trust me, you don't want to miss this. Menopause Sex 0.5: Getting acquainted with your body's unsung hero, the prostate. To truly understand this surprising reality, we first need to get properly introduced to today's main character, the prostate gland itself. So, what exactly is it? Think of it as your body's walnut-sized wellness manager, dedicated entirely to the male reproductive system. It's a small, yet remarkably powerful gland positioned just below the bladder and in front of the rectum. Its main role? It's both a factory and a transport hub combined into one. The prostate produces a significant amount of the fluid that forms semen. Now, this fluid isn't just a carrier, it's a nourishing, protective medium designed to support and transport sperm on their journey. Despite its modest size, the prostate plays a major role in a man's overall health, comfort, and vitality, a role that only becomes more significant with age. And precisely because of how crucial it is, it's also a common source of anxiety and concern. You've likely heard the rumors, the myths that echo through locker rooms and internet forums alike. The idea that frequent self-pleasure might somehow wear out the prostate, lead to chronic inflammation, a condition called prostatitis that can be quite uncomfortable, or even raise the risk of prostate cancer, a fear that understandably weighs heavily on many men. Let me be absolutely clear, those fears make sense. Prostate cancer is one of the most common cancers diagnosed in men across the globe. So anything that seems connected to that risk is taken very seriously. For decades, these worries went largely unchallenged, often dismissed as old wives' tales or moralistic warnings cleverly disguised as health advice. But then, something remarkable happened. Researchers from one of the world's most prestigious and respected universities decided it was time to move past speculation. They set out to put these widespread myths to the test, with a massive, long-term, and rigorous scientific study. And what they uncovered didn't just nudge the old assumptions aside, it shattered them completely. It fundamentally changed the entire discussion around self-stimulation and prostate health forever. This was the turning point, when anecdote gave way to evidence. The study that changed everything. So, what is this surprising revelation? What did science finally and conclusively reveal? The groundbreaking research I'm referring to comes from a name you've definitely heard before: Harvard University, specifically the world-renowned Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. And let me be clear, this wasn't some small-scale casual survey. This was serious, large-scale science. The researchers followed an astounding 32,000 men for nearly 2 decades. Take a moment to let that sink in. Over 18 years, they carefully tracked and documented these men's lifestyles, habits, and health outcomes. One of the key aspects they focused on was the frequency of climax. And when the data was finally analyzed, after years of meticulous tracking, the results were nothing short of astonishing. Truly, the kind of findings that make you say, you have to see it to believe it. Are you ready for it? Here comes the groundbreaking discovery. The study found that men who reported a higher frequency of climax had a noticeably lower risk of developing prostate cancer. Let me repeat that slowly, because it's worth emphasizing. More frequent climax was associated with a reduced risk of prostate cancer. These figures weren't just some vague or coincidental trend. They were concrete, statistically significant, and remarkably strong. The data revealed that men who experienced climax 21 times or more per month had up to a 33% lower likelihood of being diagnosed with prostate cancer when compared to those who only reached climax 4 to 7 times monthly. Let's pause for a moment and really think about that. This discovery completely overturns the long-held fears and misconceptions passed down for generations. Rather than being a harmful practice, the evidence clearly pointed toward a powerful natural protective benefit. And before you start wondering whether this was simply a one-time finding or some statistical fluke, let me assure you, it wasn't. These results have been mirrored and reinforced by other major research efforts conducted across the globe. For instance, a substantial Australian study also discovered a similar protective connection, further validating what the Harvard researchers had uncovered, metasex so. That brings us to the million-dollar question, the one that likely popped into your mind just now. Why? How could something so simple, so fundamental, and so natural have such a profound positive effect on the health of this small yet vital gland? It almost sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? But rather than viewing this as some strange paradox, I want you to see it as a shining example of the body's incredible built-in intelligence. Our bodies are designed to function, to move, to be active, and more often than not, the systems that are used and exercised in healthy ways are the very systems that thrive. It's a principle seen throughout human biology. Use it or lose it, in the most beneficial sense possible. When this groundbreaking research first surfaced, it didn't come neatly packaged with a simple explanation. Instead, it sparked a deep scientific quest to uncover the underlying biological mechanisms responsible for this effect. And honestly, that's where things get truly fascinating. Since then, researchers have proposed several leading theories. And I have to tell you, as a medical professional, these aren't wild guesses pulled out of thin air. They're hypotheses grounded firmly in what we know about cellular biology, fluid dynamics, and endocrinology. They make an incredible amount of sense. It's as though we've been given the final answer to a complex test. We already know A leads to B, and now we're filling in the show your work section. It's like piecing together an intricate biological puzzle, where each theory locks neatly into place to create a clearer, more complete picture of how our bodies sustain their delicate internal balance. And trust me, once you see how these mechanisms connect, you'll gain a whole new appreciation for your body's natural maintenance systems. Theory number 1. The stagnation hypothesis, a natural flush. This is perhaps the most straightforward and widely accepted explanation. I often illustrate it for my patients using a simple plumbing analogy. Imagine the prostate's intricate network of tiny ducts and channels as a collection of narrow, delicate pipes. According to the stagnation theory, regular climax serves as a built-in cleansing mechanism for these internal pathways. It helps flush them out effectively, clearing accumulated secretions, aging or senescent cells, and other metabolic byproducts that build up over time. By routinely clearing this system, you're potentially lowering the likelihood of these substances lingering long enough to cause irritation, inflammation, or even trigger the cellular changes that can eventually lead to cancer. In essence, it's your body's own preventive maintenance program at work. Theory number 2. Promoting cellular health and renewal. This next theory brings us down to the microscopic level, the very building blocks of your body. Each time a cell divides to produce new cells, there's a tiny inherent risk of a genetic mistake, a mutation. Normally, your immune system spots and corrects these errors, but occasionally one can slip through. The idea here is that frequent climax helps encourage a healthier, more consistent process of cellular renewal within the prostate. It promotes the regular shedding of older, potentially compromised cells, replacing them with fresh, healthy ones. Think of it like maintaining a garden. By continually pulling out weeds and planting new seeds, you prevent the unwanted growth from taking over. Similarly, this renewal process reduces the opportunity for abnormal or cancerous cells to take hold, multiply, and grow out of control. Theory number 3. Stress and inflammation connection. This third concept ties together the link between your mental wellness and your physical health, a link I'm constantly emphasizing in my practice. Today, we understand without a hint of doubt that ongoing psychological stress, along with the widespread inflammation it fuels, serves as a major risk factor for a